Hello, Warriors fans. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button because today we've got some huge updates about the Golden State Warriors that you won't want to miss. We're just one day away from a crucial game that so many of us have mixed feelings about. We've got a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to a certain player and the overall rotation for the upcoming postseason, particularly after some key absences in the recent game against a rival team. We also need to dive into an update on the injury of another important player who took a hit late in the game and was seen limping off the court. The big question now is whether he'll be fully recovered in time for the play-in game, and at this point, it's unclear. But before we dive into these updates, if you're rooting for the Warriors to keep fighting and secure their spot in the playoffs, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. We can't afford to be the ones who didn't back the team when they needed us the most, especially if the Warriors end up losing this crucial game. So, go ahead, make sure to drop your support as they prepare to face the Grizzlies. Now, let's get into those absences. We briefly touched on this before the game in our preview, but one player didn't step on the court even once in that thrilling overtime period. We've been digging for more information about the decision that the coach made. If you remember, there was a hint from an internal source earlier in the game that another player who stepped in was expected to take the spot that would have usually gone to that player in the rotation. The assumption before the game was that this player wouldn't be part of the rotation, and it looks like that's exactly how things played out. After the game, the coach was asked about it during the post-game press conference, and he explained the rationale behind shortening the rotation in the final game of the regular season. He mentioned that they had found a lineup that had been working really well ever since a certain player arrived. The rotation, as we know it, may be subject to change, but in this case, no such changes were made. The coach spoke about this in the press conference and shared his thoughts on trimming the rotation for that game. He pointed out that they had discovered a lineup they were comfortable with, particularly after the arrival of a certain player. Another key player didn't get a chance to play either, and he has been a significant contributor over the past few months. Both he and a teammate have been instrumental for the team, but it doesn't mean they're out of the picture for the future. It simply reflects how the game unfolded. It's interesting, though, that the coach seemed to have a more positive outlook on one of the players compared to the other, based on his comments. He also gave a heads up to one of the players before the game that he wouldn't be part of the rotation. This situation is worth noting because this player's role has seemed to diminish in recent weeks as the team works to get back into form, especially after the injury troubles. Interestingly enough, he had a standout performance, scoring 38 points and grabbing 10 rebounds in the last game against a rival team. Despite that, the coach felt it was better to go with a different rotation and lineup that didn't include him. Honestly, I can see where he's coming from. This player has struggled since returning from injury, looking inefficient and failing to create space on the floor. It's not that he was an exceptional space creator before, but his recent performances have raised concerns. Plus, he tends to disrupt plays, often missing shots, and not fitting well within the offensive system. The coach simply wasn't willing to take a risk on the potential chaos this player could bring to the offense while on the court. They couldn't afford to have stretches where they weren't scoring, and there were indeed moments in that game where it was hard to put points on the board. If a particular player is going to be out there for 48 minutes in an overtime game, you can't afford a moment of stagnation. And that's exactly what the team would be risking if this player was in the rotation, especially since there were already issues with scoring. If one player is playing 48 minutes, another for 40, the chances of a third player getting involved are limited. The coach mentioned that the trio of players in question wasn't working effectively, which is frustrating given the high expectations surrounding them. Unfortunately, this player has failed to meet those expectations. There was a stretch when he was sidelined due to injury, and another player was in the lineup. During that time, they posted an impressive record of 12 wins and just 2 losses in the first 14 games with him. The stats during that stretch were outstanding, with an offensive rating of 121.6, which would be the best in the league in an 82-game season, and a defensive rating of 109.6, ranking the team among the top 5 in the NBA during that span. Also, in terms of free throws attempted per game, although it's unclear how that directly relates to the performance of the player in question, it does highlight the team's style of play. They averaged 25 free throws per game, which would put them at the top of the NBA for that season. However, since the return of this player, that average has dropped to just 20 free throws per game, a significant decrease from their peak. Some may argue that this player is on the decline, but I would disagree. His future with the franchise is uncertain, but there is still a chance he'll play a role in the postseason. A veteran player offered some encouraging words, stating, "Right now, there's speculation that the coach should be more involved in the decision-making, but that's not where we are at the moment. The players are struggling with making decisions based on roster changes from one season to the next, but the management has that ability." One player's situation stands out as a clear example of poor management. The franchise didn't grant him the contract extension he wanted before the season began. He was asking for more money than he probably deserved. Now, we're seeing the consequences of that. It's clear he's not worth $30 million annually, but if that was out of the question and had been foreseeable long before the negotiations ended, why wasn't he traded? Why didn't the team make an offer that could have sent him to another team in exchange for someone who could contribute more? The team could have acquired a player who could score 30 points and shoot 40% from beyond the arc, complementing the team's star players. This is a clear case of poor organizational management, and now it looks like he could leave without the team getting anything in return. If the team manages to pull off a trade, it's unlikely they'll land a player of the same caliber. The team's decisions have been puzzling, and the possibility of this player playing a significant role in the rotation during the playoffs seems increasingly unlikely. What do you think? Should this player get a chance to play in the games against the rivals? Does he really deserve a spot in such an important game? The team faced a tough loss in a decisive game where he didn't play. Should he be included in that crucial matchup? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Drop a P for play or S for sit. As we look ahead, the reality is that the Golden State Warriors are facing a crossroads. The team's recent performance has raised many questions, particularly about their ability to adapt to the playoff intensity and whether their current roster can live up to expectations when it matters most. For the fans, it's not just about how well they can perform during the regular season or a handful of games here and there, but whether the Warriors can truly lock in when the stakes are at their highest. That means fully understanding their strengths and weaknesses, acknowledging the inconsistent performances from key players, and deciding who can step up in the postseason to deliver the kind of impact this team needs. We're all familiar with the Warriors' formula, a mix of veteran leadership, a splash of youthful energy, and a collective understanding of what it takes to win championships. That winning formula has been the bedrock of their success for the past several years, but right now, things are starting to feel a little out of sync. Injuries, of course, have played a role in this. The absence of some important contributors has thrown off the rhythm of the team, leaving the coaching staff to scramble and search for answers. But this is nothing new for the Warriors. They've been able to adapt in the past, even when things seemed impossible. The question now is whether the pieces that are still in place can get the job done. One of the biggest concerns heading into the playoffs is how the Warriors will handle the matchup against their most likely opponents. They've had a bit of a roller coaster season when it comes to facing teams of similar caliber. They've dropped games they should have won and won games they had no business pulling off. That inconsistency will be an issue when going up against a playoff caliber team that's firing on all cylinders. The margin for error is razor thin in the postseason, and the Warriors can't afford to have a single player or a single game where they let things slip away. It's not just about the talent anymore. It's about being able to lock in, make the right adjustments on the fly, and execute under pressure. That's what separates the good teams from the great ones. So much of this hinges on the performance of their core players, particularly the likes of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. Curry, of course, is always the focal point of the offense. His ability to score in a variety of ways, as well as his leadership on the floor, will be crucial as the team heads into the playoffs. But the challenge will be ensuring that the other pieces fall into place. Thompson, who has had his struggles throughout the season, will need to find a way to regain some consistency and get back to playing at a level that matches his skill set. There have been flashes of brilliance, but those flashes haven't always been enough to carry the team over the hump. If Thompson can find his rhythm, it would give the Warriors a much-needed boost heading into the postseason. Then there's Draymond Green, whose value to the team extends far beyond the stat sheet. His leadership, defense, and playmaking are all essential to the Warriors' success, especially in the playoffs. Green is the emotional leader, the heartbeat of the team, and his ability to set the tone on defense and facilitate the offense will be critical. However, his sometimes erratic behavior can also be a double-edged sword. The Warriors need Green to keep his composure in high-pressure situations, something he's done in the past, but has also struggled with at times. If Green can stay focused and play within the system, he'll provide the Warriors with a major advantage on both ends of the court. But we can't overlook the other role players who could potentially swing the series. With players like Andrew Wiggins, Kevin Looney, and Jordan Poole, the Warriors have a group of individuals who have proven their worth in various moments. Wiggins, in particular, has become an important piece in the puzzle. His scoring ability, defense, and overall versatility give the Warriors the flexibility they need to match up with a variety of teams. However, Wiggins has also had his moments of inconsistency, and it will be crucial for him to find a way to play up to his potential when the lights are brightest. Looney, on the other hand, has been a steady presence all season long. His rebounding, especially on the offensive end, has been a key factor in many of the Warriors' wins. If Looney can continue to battle in the paint and provide the team with second-chance opportunities, it could give the Warriors a much-needed edge in the postseason. His ability to stay out of foul trouble and provide solid minutes will be essential in matching up against bigger teams. Jordan Poole, for all his talent and potential, will be another player to watch. He's been inconsistent at times, particularly when it comes to decision-making and his defensive play. Poole has shown the ability to take over games and put up big numbers, but the Warriors will need him to be more efficient and make better decisions in the high-stakes environment of the playoffs. If Poole can continue to develop as a reliable offensive option and play smarter basketball, he could be a major asset for the team. Despite all the talent and potential on the roster, the Warriors still face significant challenges heading into the postseason. Their defense, though improved over the course of the season, remains a question mark. The Warriors have had their struggles in defending the paint, particularly against bigger teams, and that's something they'll need to address if they want to make a deep playoff run. The defensive consistency, especially from players like Green, Wiggins, and Thompson, will need to be on display every night. If the Warriors can tighten up defensively and find a way to limit their opponents' scoring opportunities, they'll be in a good position to compete for a championship. Another factor that could make or break the Warriors' playoff hopes is the health of their key players. Injuries have been a constant theme for the team this season, and if any of their core players were to go down, it would significantly hinder their chances. Curry has managed to stay relatively healthy this season, but Green and Thompson have both dealt with injuries in recent years. The Warriors will need to keep their players fresh and healthy, particularly as the games begin to pile up in the postseason. This is where the depth of their roster could come into play, with players like Poole and Wiggins needing to step up and contribute more. As the Warriors head into the postseason, there's no denying that they'll have to overcome significant challenges. The road ahead won't be easy, but the Warriors have the talent, experience, and leadership to make a run at another championship. It won't be. With that said, the question remains, can the Warriors find a way to get back to the level of play that made them champions in the past? Time will tell, but if there's one thing we know about this team, it's that they've never been afraid to rise to the occasion. So, let's see what happens in the coming days and weeks. The postseason is right around the corner, and the Warriors will need to be at their best if they hope to add another championship to their already impressive legacy. Let's hope they can find that magic once again and make a serious run for the title. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NBA world, the Golden State Warriors have emerged as strong contenders in the race to acquire Nikola Jokic, one of the league's most dominant forces. With his unprecedented combination of skill, vision, and scoring ability, Jokic has established himself as not just the best center in the game, but arguably one of the greatest players to ever step on the hardwood. The Warriors, always a team willing to make bold moves to ensure their championship aspirations, are reportedly keen to bring the Serbian superstar to the Bay Area. But with such a prize player at the center of trade talks, the question remains, what would it take for Golden State to land the MVP of the NBA? Nikola Jokic's resume is a testament to his greatness. A two-time NBA MVP, Jokic's versatility and court awareness redefine what a center can do in modern basketball. His legendary ability to orchestrate the offense, along with his uncanny skill in both scoring and playmaking, has placed him in elite company. The Denver Nuggets' historic championship win in 2023 marked a high point in Jokic's career, but despite his success, the 29-year-old's future has been thrown into question amid growing rumors of potential interest from teams like the Warriors. With Golden State already boasting an array of talent, adding Jokić could elevate their offensive schemes to an entirely new level. The allure of Jokić to the Warriors is undeniable. Known for their revolutionary approach to the game, Golden State could unlock even more potential in Jokić, who already ranks among the top 4 players of all time for triple-doubles. His elite passing, vision, and basketball IQ would fit seamlessly with the Warriors' high-powered offense and their relentless pursuit of efficiency. Adding him to a roster featuring Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green could be the final piece in what many would consider a dynasty like no other. The thought of Jokić facilitating the offense alongside Curry's shooting and Green's defense is enough to send any NBA fan into a frenzy. However, securing a player of Jokic's caliber is no easy task. The Warriors would likely need to give up a significant portion of their future and talent pool to land the Serbian star. The Nuggets, while holding a player of Jokic's magnitude, may be reluctant to part with him unless they are offered a deal that not only maintains their competitive edge, but also ensures their future remains bright. Golden State's trade assets, including young players and future picks, could be a starting point, but the financial complexities of such a move cannot be ignored. It remains to be seen if the Warriors are willing to sacrifice their current depth to pursue Jokić, or if other teams will come into play, further complicating negotiations. As the trade deadline looms, all eyes are on the Golden State Warriors and their pursuit of Nikola Jokic. Could they actually pull off this monumental acquisition, or is this just another NBA rumor destined to fade with time? One thing is certain. If the Warriors manage to acquire the reigning MVP, the balance of power in the NBA will shift dramatically, and the chase for the 2025 championship will look markedly different. The Warriors' quest to add Jokić to their roster could very well be the defining storyline of this season. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.